Welcome to STARSEED HQ, your galactic coffee stop shop for the Awakened Starseed. Do you feel alone on this planet? Do you wonder where your starseed origins are from? Do you want to connect with more of your tribe? This series of interactions with STARSEED HQ will help awaken you to your soul's mission and purpose on planet Earth. You came here for a reason. Now let's find out why. Join me for the next episode of STARSEED HQ. Hello, everyone. Hello, and welcome to our first episode of STARSEED HQ. And we're going to start today with a topic that is near and dear to every awakened starseed, the "where am I from" topic. My opinion about that has evolved over time, but I want to start kind of with the basics a little bit, kind of go back to remember what it was like to be an awakened starseed. So let's just sit down together in our galactic coffee shop, because I find what most starseeds need is kind of to feel like they're part of a quote-unquote tribe somewhere. And so I see us all sitting down together, in a comfy space, and just sharing what we have with each other. So this is a reciprocal relationship, and you may be listening to me speaking from experience and speaking as part of my Starseed mission. But as part of that, there's also the giving back, I guess, per se, because we are part of a tribe, and so we speak to each other in different ways, and we really don't need to necessarily be speaking to each other physically or sitting down in front of each other in person to have these conversations. So I want to blow open all the doors on what it means to be a starseed on this planet. Why are you here? Where are you from? What's your mission? What are you supposed to be doing? Why do you feel so alone? These are all the questions that come up. And they're all things that we will explore as we go through this. Now, this is, like I said, part of my Starseed mission. So just so you kind of understand where I'm coming from, since this is the first episode of this series, this does appear on TLC for the Soul podcast, because it is one in a series of many that I do on the podcast, which is kind of the overarching brand of the work that I do. So I've got other things. I'm an author. I specialize in the bardic arts, which is storytelling and oration and speaking and all of that stuff. So Starseed Ambassador is one of many hats that I wear. And so on this podcast, if you look around, you're going to see other things. And I will go into that in another episode of kind of why am I here? But it's not just to be a starseed. So that's part of the fun of it, is exploring where you are from as your starseed point of origin. I am also an ambassador to the Galactic Councils of Light, and I work directly through that. My partner, my mentor, I guess I'll just call him my mentor right now, is Bashar, working through the Galactic Council of Light. I work with other councils of light. I work with that are more of the Earth, of the New Earth. But as my Starseed mission, I also work with the Galactic Councils of Light, which is, think of it like a UN for star nations. So all of the star nations of the light work through the Galactic Council of Light. Commander Ashtar is one of the founding members of the Galactic Council of Light, and Bashar is an emissary and a mentor right now that has been assigned to me to help me with my Starseed mission on this planet. And he's really excited because he's reached out many times, and many times I've been like, yeah, okay, I'll do it. and as Starseeds, we're doing kind of unconsciously, I guess, unbeknownst to us sometimes, our energetics are doing starseed work anyway. But there's just so many subjects to touch on in this Starseed HQ. So I want to just right now stick to the where am I from topic for a little bit and just dive into that a little bit more. First of all, and I do want to say, your Starseed awakening is somewhat multifaceted. It goes through many different, I guess, quote unquote, phases. And I'm tapped in right now energetically, bringing down into our etheric circle Bashar and any of the members of the Galactic Council of Light that would like to join me here in this conversation, because I do want to have some discussion or some talking points, and then also there's light language we could do to do activations for everybody and all sorts of other things we could be thinking about. So for this one, they're saying it's kind of more introductory, just to let you start hearing my voice, because as starseeds, as many other light, I don't like to use the term so much. Yeah, they're saying light worker in a sense is somewhat kind of compromised term, but your starseed mission on the planet has many facets to it. And before you even get there, if you're newly awakening to the, I think I might be from the stars, I just now don't feel part of the planet, is what I hear from pretty much 99.9% of all awakening starseeds, is I feel so lonely here, like I don't belong, and I just don't feel part of this planet, and I don't know why I'm here, and why can't my starseed family come take me home? Why am I really frustration in a sense of awakening and going, oh my God, what the heck have I gotten myself into? Why am I here? Where am I from? And sometimes it may seem like I speak somewhat. I always kind of caveat, I'm not being flippant about any of these topics. They're very serious and near and dear to my heart. And I just have to sometimes take a step back, because I have been doing this work for a while, to remember what it felt like to be newly awakened on Earth as a starseed and many other things, an empath and all these other things. Because some of us, most of us, they're saying, that are starseeds are very old souls. So you're still a soul. You still came from the Creator, so you still came from Source or God or the Great Mystery, or whatever your word is that you use for creational energy. And I want to start getting a little bit more techno speak in here in terms of starseed terminology. So that is a goal and an intention of mine, is if there is a more technical way to put it, I can go very, very technical. I've spent a lot of time up on the starships working in the technical areas of some of the star families. So just like you might sense a corporation having an IT department, it's kind of similar like that up on the starships. There's almost like the Galactic IT department, and I spent a lot of time in some of those IT areas, security and all that, like IT security. If you're really fond of IT related stuff, 99.9% chance you're a starseed, okay? And you've got a lot of special abilities and things you came here with that, even if you're not awakened, you may wonder, why am I always drawn to, technically related stuff? Why do I jive with some of that? Why do I find technology to be so interesting? Why do I find, before we awakened, we all were really interested in, alien abductions and ETs and the ships coming down and Close Encounters of the Third Kind. You may have cried, you just didn't know then. You just didn't know that's what it was. Like, why are you so strongly drawn to some of these things? And why do you have an innate understanding of things you have no idea of? I will share a story that they're bringing to my mind now, just to kind of earthalize it. I'm making a new word. Instead of internalize it, it's earthalize it for you. So I've got another episode on this podcast about my whole career experience, how I kind of got to where I got to. But I have no college experience as no degrees or anything like that on this planet with knowing anything about certain subject matters, where I did end up specializing when I was in the corporate world a while back. So I left the corporate world in 2015. But one thing that fascinated me was IT security. Now, by no means am I in the realms of somebody who understands how to go in and do code and hacking and all that. I'm not there. If I really wanted to be, I could be, but that's not where I'm at. But IT security was more thwarting the hackers was very interesting to me. And I remember one time going to a technology training class. So I was in IT for 15 years in a very, very highly regarded corporation. And they sent me to a training class for security and hacking and all of this. And it was all about understanding the different types of security hacks that could happen on a website, because that was what I did. I worked on external websites for this company. And I felt so funny because I came from the business side of things. So this is just showing you where the Starseed steps in. So I'm both. I'm an empath. I'm very good in communication. I can, the divine feminine of me works well with people in groups and customer servicey and all that. But there was this, I always was interested in technology. And so they sent me to this class, and I was kind of more coming from the business side of things, more of an analyst type background. Again, no schooling. I just excelled at doing project management and business analysis. And they sent me to a technology class, this IT security class with all sorts of IT developers. I'm talking about coders, programmers, and folks that's more specialized in IT security than I did. And we had these exercises we had to do about finding the hack within, or finding out the type of hack and how, and decoding hacking certain things or whatever. I don't remember the exact part of it, but it was finding out how this could be compromised and in what way and all that. And so there were exercises that we had to do individually. And I remember the very first time we did one, I was like, I got it. And I was right. Whatever my answer was, whatever I answered, whatever I came up with was correct. And I was the only one in the class that got it. And so I was like, oh my God, where is this knowledge coming from? I had no idea at that point. That was really so close to my awakening. I think I was slowly starting to come into my awakening. That was 2006. That was 2006. So it wasn't quite there yet. I just knew I loved all this kind of stuff, right? So that may be where, one of the areas that you are thinking I love all this stuff, but what does that mean? And then it wasn't until about 7 years later that I sat down with a psychic friend of mine, and I felt it already. I didn't know what it was. And then I started hanging out in more of these type groups with, light workers and empaths and psychics and very powerful people, all very intuitively inclined and spiritually, quote unquote, on. And I felt this already, starseed, this term. I had heard it, and I didn't really understand what it was. And I was all the implications of what that meant. And I sat down with a psychic friend of mine, and I'm like, am I this from the stars? I don't know. I just feel like I'm from the stars. And she's like, yeah. To her again, I'm kind of talking to her. It was kind of yeah, you're a starseed. Yeah, I think you're from a couple of different, you have experience on a couple of different, in a couple of different places. And I just kind of left it at that. And I was like, oh my God, out on my own. Like, I have no idea what this means. And, I don't think I thought much more about it at that point. I was just kind of like, that's kind of cool. I would have liked to explore that more. And then I think it was, what did I say? That was like 2013. It wasn't until 2018, when I was like, and I had been listening for quite some time to people doing light language, people like Lightstar and Judy Satori, who I absolutely love her stuff too. And those are the main ones, I think. I started listening to Judy a lot because she incorporated the Starseed with some of the New Earth stuff. And she has excellent, programs and like online courses and stuff. So I took some stuff with her, and I listened a lot to Anrita Melchizedek. If you have not ever listened to any of her meditations, like, you are missing out on some very powerful activations. So I'll put these ladies in the show notes, but I think it was through theirs, through Judy's and through Anrita's mainly, because I could sit and listen to Anrita Melchizedek. She does long meditations, like several, like hour and a half, 2 hour long meditations that were activations. And she has got a ton of videos on her YouTube that are Starseed activations. I'm not even going to attempt to try and go do that. She's just like really adept at her channeling and her meditations for that. So you can go take a look at those at your leisure. But I spent, I could sit some days and do 4 or 5 hours of her meditations, and I was just drinking them up at that point. And that was 2017, I think. And then 2018, I had a massive soul rebirth. I was just like hell on earth, basically, happened in 2018. But what it did do was it further awakened me to the Starseed in me. And all the light language I had been listening to, Judy Satori for one, and then I started listening a little bit to Lightstar, and I started dabbling with some others. And then I found Keelena Malnar. And there's going to be one person that you find that's going to activate you to speak light language. And maybe it's not one, but there was one person that's more of an activator than a communicator. So there is a difference in this. Where am I from? I was kind of like, yeah, where am I from? And I started opening up to all of these different star nations and star families. And there's still not one star home that I think, okay, I'm from the Creator. That's where I'm from. Do I have a what do I want to call it? I know I'm jumping around a little bit, but Keelena Malnar really activated me to speak light language. So I want to just leave that there and come back to light language in another episode, because I want to stick to the where am I from for a minute. But I will put her down, because some light language people are communicators and healers, but they're not really activators, meaning they don't go in and activate your DNA to be able to speak light language or to open up certain codes within you. That's going to be a whole other show. So let me just jot that down. But back to the where am I from? When you're from let's say a particular star, place, or planet, one where you feel like you first started out, they're saying it's one where your soul kind of first goes to when it was first created. Yeah. You're going to end up having fond memories of many star places along your journey, but there's going to be one, maybe two that you really just have this, deep heart affinity for them. And it's because when you first came from Source, so you were created, you are an emanation of Source. This is my interpretation of the journey. Yours may be different. If this doesn't resonate with you and you feel like your soul was created in some other way, just go with what resonates with you. Leave the rest. It doesn't mean that the whole thing is not, accurate or on point or coming from, from Source or coming from the stars or whatever, because this is being channeled directly from Source through the Galactic Councils of Light, through me as the conduit to you, all the listeners. But it's up to you to intuit and use your own best heart sensing and sacred mind to know what feels right and what feels best for you. So if there's anything that I ever do say that you're like, oh, pshaw, well, then that's fine. That part is not for you. And maybe it's just, just leave that part out. But when we were created, I'm just going to put it this way and put it very high level, you were almost like a burst of light from Source, like a beam of light that came out of Source. And your light went somewhere so that it could begin to learn and understand and have experiences. Okay? So when someone is an earth seed, their first light came and was seeded on earth. And there are actual physical crystals within Gaia's core that maintain what you here may be calling, right, the Akashic records. There are physical crystals written for seeds, people that were seeded directly into this planet. So everyone has their own crystal. So if you were a star seed, your crystal doesn't necessarily reside on Earth. It resides elsewhere. And for me, I would say I just keep going back to Tiamat. I did a video about this, and I'm going to have to go find it. It's somewhere in my Instagram feed about Tiamat. I have dreamt about it on several different occasions, about being there. If you've ever seen, oh gosh, am I going to call it by the wrong name? I'll call its name wrong. I won't say it correctly. But if you've ever seen galactic art, especially very high frequency galactic artists, doing visionary art, and a lot of the neon colors and so forth. Jean-Luc, I can't remember his last name, begins with a B. His type of artwork really reminded me of Tiamat. And I went through I don't remember now if it was a dream or if it was a meditation. I can't remember now. But somehow I was told that I had a crystal here on Earth that was here on a temporary basis. And at some point that crystal was moved back to Tiamat. And I remember having a dream where I went to Tiamat and I was the only one there. I was only one of a few people there. It was so empty. And I was running some sort of day spa or something. There was some sort of business right on the beach. They have beautiful beaches, and talking to a few people, and it was kind of everybody's gone, but they're starting to come back. And then I was shown that my Akashic crystal was etherically moved from Earth's core back to Tiamat. So whatever happened there has left a lot to be explored, and I've heard very few. I can't find a lot of information about it, but I do have. There are a few people. If you search Tiamat, Tiamat, I think. It's different than Terramat, which is an ascended aspect of Earth. This is an aspect or an ascended planet out there, is the best way I can describe it. And it kind of helped seed Gaia. And so I want to do a whole other episode on Tiamat because I want to explore that even more. But there's going to be a place, a star that you resonate with, a star family, a star nation you resonate with the most. And it does take some exploring. And I think for me, what was helpful there was to sit and start listening to different types of light language is what really did it for me. And so that's what we are going to start exploring in these episodes more, is doing an episode on, all of the star nations that make up the Galactic Councils of Light, doing an introduction with them and getting you some key code activations from each one. And if you have spent time on that star or in that constellation system, or, we're going to explore all sorts of different areas within the Milky Way galaxy. If you are part of any of those, and they're showing me that some of you have actually come from even way far beyond our own galaxy. So we're going to start exploring those and bringing in, I'm ready to bring in new light language too. So I think that's why they're bringing this up. I've been doing some of the typical ones, Andromedan, Arcturian, Pleiadian, Lyran, and there's some others I want to explore within the Galactic Council of Light, but I'm ready to start bringing in some of those beyond our galaxy, and speaking with those friends out there, because there are some of us that have some experience out there as well, and it just helps connect you. And what you'll find is there's certain light languages that really speak to you, okay, and you're going to know what they are. Some people are very literal minded about it, and you kind of have to step out of that comfort zone of trying to understand it literally, and feel it in your heart. And there's some that you're going to feel very deeply in your body and in your heart and in your soul, and those are the ones that are going to be like your where am I froms. So I think this first episode is just an exploration into all the different topics we can cover here. And maybe we will start with the light languages, or the breakdown, each star system, a little bit of an introduction to each one, because they do want to come forward and speak to each of you. I like to bring in channeling from them, and then do a little bit of a light language activation, so these little episodes don't have to be so long. And then we'll do some more learnings and teachings about what it's like to be a starseed here on Earth. What is my mission? What is my purpose? We'll break off and do some series on that as well. Because you're not alone. You do have a purpose. It's definitely not when to sit around and wait for when to go home again. It's time to get to work. It's time to figure out why you're here. And it's going to be different for all of you, okay? But you're not alone. There's many of us out here. It's just like in Men in Black. Was it the first Men in Black where, I don't know exactly. Was it when he puts the glasses, when they're coming out of the coffee shop? Is it when he puts the glasses on, or when the girl puts the glasses on for the first time and sees all those starseeds all around? You know what I mean? When they're riding bikes and doing all these different things, and it's they're around me all the time. I just didn't realize it because I just thought I was alone. I thought that I just got dropped off here and and left behind. Why would they do that to me? So we're gonna dispel all those myths that you were just kind of dropped off and left behind. You really are here for a purpose. You volunteered to come here. You weren't left here as some sort of punishment. And we're gonna try to do it in some sort of a lighthearted way, because I think as starseeds we can get overly serious, melancholy, depressed, and taxed about the fact that we are here in this 3D reality where it's just such a challenge sometimes to make things happen, because it's so dense and we're not used to the density of this planet. And so let's just look at it with some levity at points in time, and you will find that I will bring in humor and charm to try and break up some of these feelings of feeling so despondent and all alone, all right? Because it doesn't have to be that way. So I think for now, I'm going to leave this as the first episode as an introduction to what we're going to be doing here. And if you vibe with that, I don't know how you listen to this. I put this out on my podcast. That means it shows up all over the place. And I also load it up to my YouTube channel. So if you somehow have a way to subscribe, or click on notifications on your podcast provider, or however you want to do it, just know that many more episodes are forthcoming. And whenever you see Starseed HQ as the title, those are the ones for you, because like I said, I do other stuff on this channel as well. And, we're all in this together, friends. So at some point we'll be having some more of a community space. But for now, let's just get started on this and just start getting you pumped up with knowledge about who you are as a starseed. And we will take it from there. So I want to thank you all so much for listening. And it sounds like the Arcturians want to come through for our very first, Where Am I From episode and meeting. And then maybe, I don't know how we'll do it next. We'll just see whoever wants to come forth. And we'll just take it from there. So I thank you all for listening, and we will see you all again in the next episode. Take care. This episode was brought to you by the Galactic Council of the Light, helping serve humanity one starseed at a time. Thanks so much for listening. We'll see you again in the next episode.